Oh dear. Happy Friday, everybody. Let's see, it is Friday, August 23rd. August 23rd, 2024. 23-24, cool. I just noticed that. So, I need to get my notes out for something real fast because I do have something to talk about, something very important to talk about. And that is that I had, it's going to be my high, so I don't bother keeping this a secret. I binge watched the rest of that 90's show yesterday because season 2, part 2 premiered on Netflix, which in of itself, that's already a high because originally it wasn't supposed to come out until October. Hold on, there we go. Originally the show wasn't supposed to come out until October, but I guess it was just so popular that they moved the premiere date to yesterday. So I binge watched 8 episodes, and it was incredible. I'll talk about that in a second. You know what I'll say that my low was the ending. Oh, the ending wasn't bad at all, but again, and that 70's show, I do believe, had a habit of doing this too, where technically each season ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and this one ended on a cliffhanger as well. So now we gotta wait until next year, probably, until we see what happens next. So I'm a little bit bummed that we have to wait a whole nother year. And my act of kindness was, well, I did several things. I emptied the dishwasher for my mom and dad. What else did I do? I helped my mom watch my nephews. I got to see my nephews yesterday. That's also part of my high. It was so much fun seeing my nephews and everything. And honestly, just because I had a spare minute, I actually went back to picks for a little bit. Not long, maybe about 20 minutes to a half an hour. Again, nothing too long. It's just, I haven't been there since till May. So I was due to go back. It was a lot of fun to go back. It was just a way of being out and about for once. I mean, I'm going to be going out and about tonight, so no worry about that. And the weather this weekend is supposed to be really nice. I think Saturday is supposed to be a high of 81. So that's going to be it should be a good day tomorrow. I think the low is going to be 51. So jumping into Chico Lake tomorrow is going to be a real pain probably. Not to mention, there's a whole bunch of stuff I have to do the instant I get up to the lake tonight. Hopefully it won't take too long. I mean, it shouldn't take too long, but we'll have to wait and see. So, that 90's show. Where do I even begin? This show is, listen, if you've been watching me long enough, then you know I love the original That 70's Show. And when that 90's show premiered last year, because it's the sequel series, I was legit cackling like an idiot. There wasn't a moment I wasn't smiling or cackling like an idiot throughout the entirety of the show. And yesterday was literally the same. It was just more of the same. It was great. If you've been keeping up, the part 1 of season 2 ended on a cliffhanger where Leo's son and his best friend, played by literally Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, rammed their car into Kitty and Foreman's house and left a giant hole in their wall. And so they try and fix it up before they get back after a week, but they lose track of time, and Red and Kitty come back. Oh, gosh. I mean, here's the thing. I've mentioned this every time I've talked about this show. At its core, Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp as Red and Kitty Foreman, they are the heart and soul of this show. Like, it's very rare that you find actors who all but been engrossed into the roles they've been given to such a degree that you believe absolutely everything they do and say. Like, you believe that Kitty Foreman really is a loving mother and grandmother, as well as, really good at housewife-related stuff, and she's a good cook, and you believe that Red Foreman will shove a foot up your ass if he deems it necessary to do so. Which, that's actually the thing. I mean, it'd be easy to have this show say, for Red Foreman to say dumbass or foot in the ass every, 3 seconds, but that's not good writing. This show has phenomenally great comedic writing. Not just from Kitty and Red Foreman, but the rest of the cast. I mean, I've been saying all throughout, every time I talked about this show, that Kelly Haverda, Ashley Alder, Hyde, Macy Colonel, Mace Colonel, Rand Joy, Sam Morelos, and Maxwell Ace Donovan. Those 6 actors, they're going to go to do big things. I really do think each and every single one of those actors has a bright future ahead of them, provided they don't do anything, embarrassing, or, provided they don't get hurt or anything. Hold on. Had to knock on wood for that. And I actually did notice this a little bit in part 1 of season 2. I mean, yes, Kitty and Red Foreman, they are the heart of the show. And season 1 made it an emphasis yes, this is in a different decade. This, for the most part, is a new group of characters. But the core of the show still remains. And it works with that too. But they really did try to explore more of this new cast. Which they should. I mean, this is, at the heart of, at the core of the original show, it was, Eric and Donna and Kelso and Jackie and Fez and, Hyde. That was them navigating through their teen years, as they, get older and become adults and usher in a new decade. This show is more, this season is where I really did notice that a lot more, in a good way. Again, it's not like it was, again, like I said, the 6 kids in the 70s, growing up and getting ready to do, adult things and take on the world, and then it's the 80s. No, it slowly worked its way up to that. Because at the end of the day, this really is more of a, slice of life kind of show. Yes, there is an ongoing story. And, they've been, again, it's all in good writing. This show's did a great job of, using that device as a means to tell, a decent story. But to a casual viewer, you're not really going to know that, you'll know there's a story going on, but the more you watch it, you're not really that invested in the story, at least not at first. Again, this is a funny show with good actors performing as good characters, and it works. this show works on every level. This show checks all the boxes for me. And, I mean, yes, this is a comedy, but it talks about some really serious issues. They talked about how, they did an episode where, Gwen sees her dad again, played by Cedric Yarborough. They explored Ozzy's, character about the fact that he is gay, and he found himself a boyfriend at a wrestling convention, no less. They did explore, love. Well, they explored heartbreak and trying to move on, but it's difficult to do so. And yeah, they even talked about having sex. This is the sort of thing that they did in the old show, but they did it smart, and they did that here too. Again, whoever the writers are for this show, I'm sure, listen, if Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp are in this show, it's very clear they had to have had a hand in some of the writing. As well as some of the original people behind, some of the filmmakers? Well, it's not really a film. The people who worked on the original show, some of them had to have been back for this show as well. And they clearly got, new, young, and hungry talent to also write this show. Because it's good. This is good writing. And it's very clear that whoever the younger people are who are writing the show, they're big fans of the original. For sure. And I love it. Again, there wasn't a moment throughout watching these 8 episodes where I wasn't smiling or holding back my laughter lest I cackle like a complete idiot. And it was fun. And that's the thing too. It's one thing to have a show that has good actors giving really good performances. It's another thing to have a good show with good actors giving good performances, but they're also having fun doing it. This cast loves doing what they do. And you can tell in their performances that they don't ever want this to end. Eventually it is going to have to end because there is a story to tell here. But 2 seasons in, I'm finding little to nothing wrong with this. Listen, there's going to be some purists out there that are going to be like, oh, it's nothing like the original show. The original cast is better. Dude, it's not meant to be that kind of show. Yes, it is a sequel to the original. But what's a good analogy? Whereas Star Trek, the original series, had Star Trek The Next Generation, this is literally on that kind of level in terms of both, writing and talent in front of and behind the camera. If that makes sense. It'd be interesting to see what happens next, considering the cliffhanger, which I gotta get to the cliffhanger because, the season ends with Donna deciding to let Leia stay in Point Place for the school year. It'll be the first legit full school year in Point Place, as they originally lived in Chicago. But Eric took a job at George Lucas's ranch to work on Star Wars because he's a Star Wars fan. And so Leia is now going to live in Point Place with Kitty and Red and get ready for school. On the last day of summer, they have a party on top of the roof of the school. And because Donna knows all the hiding spots, they got caught. And they didn't just get caught, they got caught in the middle of a circle, which, for those of you who didn't watch the original show, any circle moment, which the circle is essentially the camera, pretty much like what I am, but then the camera would pan in the other direction to someone else, and so it would go in essentially in the shape of a circle. And they do that here, but if you're a kid, you're not going to notice this. If you're an adult, you're going to know they are smoking weed. So Kitty, Red, and Donna caught the kids smoking weed on the last night of summer before school starts. And now Leia's upset at Kelso and everybody for ruining everything. Well, really mostly Kelso. And, you know, where do you go from here? I mean, it's very clear that, you know, we need to know what happens next. I mean, that's the thing. There's so many other directions that this show could go in regards to what kind of story that the writers are trying to tell. They could have season 3 take place immediately on the first day of school. They could have season 3 take place on the last day of school where summer begins. Because the first 2 seasons have taken place during the summer. I mean, in season 2, part 1, they implied that Leia came back for like holiday breaks, like spring break and stuff like that. But for the most part, like this show has taken place during the summers of 1995 and 1996. Again, they could have this take place on the first day of school of 1996, which actually for me, I would have been in kindergarten. They could easily have this. No, I would have been in first grade, excuse me. I would have been in first grade. Because 97, I was out of first grade. Again, they could have this on the last day of school and have it continue being in the summer, which kind of makes sense. Just as the show is taking place in the summer of 95 and 96, you know, each season of this show has been released in summers of 2023 and now 2024. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to need to go down. I mean, they got to talk about the ramifications of what happened in regards to smoking weed on, you know, top of the school building, which I have to say, I mentioned earlier how they could just as easily have, you know, Red Foreman say foot in the ass or dumbass all throughout this show, but they actually keep it to a minimum, and I love that. Because when Red finally does say those things, it makes it all the funnier. And the very end of this season had the greatest moment ever. I don't want to give it away, but I laughed so hard when Red said what he said, you know, in the finale of season 2, near the very end. Again, don't want to give it away, but it really looked as, if you saw me watching this, you would immediately see me like trying to hold back my laughter like I heard something naughty in church. Like, that's how funny it was. So, I mean, listen, I've been recommending this show from the very beginning since I've been watching it, and I still do. Because I would like to know where this story is going. I would like to know, you know, what happens next. I want to see, you know, how are, you know, Leia and Jay Kelso going to make up. I'd like to see how Nikki and Nate were able to fix their relationship at the very end. You know, I'd like to see, you know, Gwen's life being explored more, being, you know, because that's the thing, like, they've been doing a good job as, to not hold back some of even the heavy stuff. Like the fact that Gwen is of mixed race. Like, they've been good about it. Or you know what? I think exploring more of his sexuality. That'd be fun too. Again, there's so many directions this show could go that until we get confirmation of what happens next, all we can do is speculate. But it's the kind of speculation I love to do. I love this show, man. And I can't wait for season 3. I hope y'all like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I enjoy home this video for all you guys watching Joe for Name. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk or channel, we're here to let you know your back. Take care and make good choices.
607 all day, baby.